All right, so right now we are in Houston, Texas, where the highways are as wide as rivers, the churches are as big as stadiums. On the front of the lift kit trucks, they have ram cages in case they see a DC license plate. And on the back, they have bumper stickers that say, I wasn't born here, but I got here as soon as I could. To my right, we have my cousin Jen and her husband Adam, who is a bona fide Texan from Beaumont. So,
Don't tell people that.
tell us about Houston. How long have you two been here?
Mommy, I don't.
Okay, baby, thank you.
Oh, and these are our two special guests. Do you want to introduce our special guests?
You want to introduce yourself? No. This
Oh,
is
you too.
okay. This is Abby. What's your name, oh man?
Micah.
Yeah. I moved here in 2002, September 2002. So I've been here for almost 15 years, and lived in Houston for a couple of years. And I met Adam, and we lived in Houston for a little while, and then bought a house in one of the suburbs, and have been out here ever since.
And why did you come to Houston?
I had gotten my associate's degree back home in Idaho and knew that wanted to continue education, but that I was going to have to go somewhere else. And I had family here at the time, and so this is where I ended up.
Where did you grow up in Idaho?
Twin Falls.
How many people live in Twin Falls?
I think around the time I left, it was around 34,000, something like that.
And you're from Beaumont, Texas.
Officially from Nederland, but
Oh, okay.
very few people know where that is, so I say Beaumont.
Uh-huh.
I've been in Houston since 2005. Graduated X-ray school, and my sister got me a job at Memorial Hermann in the Texas Medical Center, working in trauma. And that is where my now wife's classmate introduced us.
Mm-hmm. So what do you two both do now for work?
We're both radiographers or X-ray techs by trade, but I veered off and did CT, and then I currently teach entry-level radiography.
And tell us something funny about Beaumont. What is Beaumont famous for?
Beaumont's probably famous for, the most famous part is probably, the nickname is the Golden Triangle. I believe it was in the 70s and 80s.
Okay, come here, baby.
We had more people in the Golden Triangle area play professional sports than any other area in the nation.
Can't do that in front of
The one thing that I joke around about is Forbes, for 2 or 3 years in a row, listed Beaumont as the least educated city in Texas. So that is a little ongoing joke I have working in the hospital.
So what is the joke? How do you say it?
Usually whenever I'm talking with physicians or staff, if they use a big word, I'll sit there and say, well, hey now. It's like, you got to keep in mind that I am from Beaumont. Those big words, you got to simplify for me. And usually they get a kick out of that.
So you used to have a more hardcore accent than you have now, right?
Yeah. You used to have a little bit more of a twang to my talk.
Can you give us a bit of a taste of that true East Texas twang?
We always say y'all. You all is plural. Y'all is singular. One of the physicians, when I first started in the cath lab, Dr. Albasom, always made fun of me because we use a lot of wires to go inside and in and out of the vessels of the body. And I would always say wire. And he would stop in the middle of the case and say, well, hold on, what did you just say? I said wire. He's like, okay, I don't know what you're saying, but it is called wire in America.
And can you count from 5 to 10 for us?
Yeah, it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
What was between 8 and 10?
9. It is not 9. It is 9. There's no I, it's an A.
So what are some fun facts, some interesting stuff about Houston, living in Houston, some strange things?
Strange. Ooh. That's kind of a difficult question because we're old married folks now. We don't have much of
How old are both of you?
Mommy,
I'm 34 and Jen is 35.
Nice.
I guess it's known for NASA. I mean, Space Center.
Mm-hmm.
Space City.
The Houston Astros, the baseball team, used to play in the Astrodome. It was the eighth wonder of the world. And we used to have Astro World, what was an amusement park, and I think it was actually designed by one of the designers from Disney World. Actually came and designed Astro World.
Also big in the oil industry.
Oil has the largest medical center in the nation.
So when you came to Houston, you wanted to work for NASA.
Originally, yeah.
And why do you want to work for NASA and what changed?
I've always been fascinated with all of the things that we don't know, and that was an area where it was being explored. And I ended up not going that direction. Abby, please step away from that. Abby, please step away. And although I liked the school that I was going to for it, I'd found medical path, and that one also kind of called me, and that was the direction I went, which was good because I'm my voice.
So what are the big issues here in Houston? I mean, other than of course whether or not to widen the 20-lane highway to like 40 lanes. What are the big issues in Houston? What do the people talk about?
The humidity. You can't walk from your front door to the end of your driveway without breaking out in a sweat in the middle of summer.
I was trying to think. Well, I mean, I can think of things that are past. I can't think of anything that's
What
current.
were the big controversies in the past?
So, like, I remember one, which was semi-supported and semi-not. It was, controversial. Was that we had a female lesbian mayor. She's no longer mayor, so that's been several years ago.
Re-elected twice, wasn't it?
Yeah, but she's no longer mayor of Houston. And she had a couple of things that were somewhat controversial, although I don't really know exactly why. Like her, I forget what it was. It was with the traffic in the
Potholes.
no, well, yeah, she did the
Was that her that did
potholes. Yeah, she did potholes, and she also did the
Traffic cameras.
no with the towing trucks.
Oh, yeah. There were several companies. Don't touch Abby. There were several companies, towing truck companies in Houston that were basically, I guess, baiting cars. They would just hang out and wait, and whenever it's like you have 30 minutes to park in this parking spot, as soon as the person got out of their car, they would wait like 10 minutes and then go tow their car. And she started setting up stings, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. And she also did like she redid the way that if there was an accident on the freeway, who would be able to come in with the tow truck. Thank you. So that was a couple of things I remember. But I mean, when we had talked about this a little bit. I mean, I think a lot of mindset here, which I didn't really realize was different until we were talking about it, is kind of live and let live. So I think there's a ton of
Don't mess with Texas.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, pretty laid back.
So Houston, despite like its reputation, is the most diverse city in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your experiences with interacting with that diversity?
I really like it, and I think that's part of where that live and let live comes from, because we're surrounded by people that have so many different thoughts and values and concerns that you kind of have to just live your life and let other people live theirs. Maybe
Don't.
please stop.
Touch. Don't.
Just a few miles away from here, I visited the very first traditional mandir, Hindu mandir, built in the United States. The very first one, and it was built in Houston. It wasn't built in New York. Wasn't built in Los Angeles. Wasn't built in liberal Seattle. It was built in Houston. Let's see what else. So the largest park in Houston, I do believe, is named the George Bush Park.
Yeah,
The airport here, what is it called?
George Bush International.
So, did you two vote in the last election?
Yeah.
And who did you both vote for?
I voted for Donald Trump.
And I voted for Gary Johnson.
So why did you guys vote for who you voted for, and why did you vote differently? Why were we not able to convince each other to go your way?
I don't think we try to convince each
Yeah.
other.
Oh, you didn't try it?
No,
No.
I mean, we are, although we're married, we're two individual people that have individual thoughts, so.
Oh, I thought that like all married people had to vote the same way.
Oh,
Not us.
no, not us.
All right, so individually, why did you make the choices that you did?
I voted for Donald Trump because I wanted someone besides a politician. I mean, we've had politicians in the past and really hasn't panned out for us. So I guess, wanted someone with a different view of things.
And I generally vote pretty conservatively, but I, Donald's mouth made me a little nervous, and I was just afraid he'd get us into a war. And I honestly, truly liked some of the things that Gary Johnson said.
So when the day after the election, the school newspaper of my university, University of Washington, one of the most prestigious in the country, supposed to be fairly independent, but the headline was "Hate Wins," and in big bold letters, "Hate Wins." And they held a week of mourning, where in the main square of the campus, hundreds of people all wearing black, like read their eulogies for like the death of America. And in Seattle, there's this general perception that if you voted for Donald Trump, you are a bad person. How do Texans like think about what people are thinking about that on the West Coast?
I think you need to grow up. I mean, it's simple. Quit whining. Things happen. I mean, just because you don't agree with someone doesn't mean that they're wrong or they're a bad person. I mean, we're all adults. I mean, live and let live. I mean, you're condemning him before he even has done anything. I mean, we've all done stuff in our past that we're not proud of. I mean, he said something, and again, I agree with Jen that there are some things that I don't agree with what he says. I think he speaks way too fast before he thinks. But I mean, again, has had said some good points that I do like. But I mean, give the man a chance before you sit there and condemn him. I mean, Texas was completely against Obama, or the majority of us were completely against Obama. We gave him a chance. He did some good things, did some things that we didn't like too much, but I mean, live and let live. I mean, give someone a chance before you condemn them.
And I can say he's not a bad person from experience.
And why did you vote for Gary Johnson?
Just like I said, I mean, it's just, well, so I didn't really care for Hillary. And that would be, first and foremost. And I wasn't really a fan of Trump. And so, I mean, there were a couple of other options. And of those other options, I liked Gary Johnson. I don't like that there's only two options. I wish that we had, consistently there was, at least a third party. Or that the other thing that really irritated me was that he wasn't even given the option to be part of the presidential debates. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, when I talked about him, a lot of people around here didn't even know about him, hadn't even heard about him.
Yeah.
So he wasn't actually even given a shot at the presidency.
And I think that Texas is maybe more Gary Johnson than they are Donald Trump conservatives.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I get.
And I would agree with you, but I think that the reason that you had more Trump supporters here is because, again,
He was the big candidate.
He was a big candidate. I mean, and I heard time and time and time again around this area that why would I want to vote for somebody that I know isn't going to get it? It's just taking a vote away from Trump, and then Hillary's going to win.
Well, yeah, but you're not in the swing state, so your vote is safe.
Well, but that was not the mentality, I mean, that's why I did.
So I read an article that said that historically immigration to the United States was flowing through New York City. We all have the image of Ellis Island, checking the teeth. All right, your name is Mr. Smith. Welcome to the United States. But I've read that now Houston is the Ellis Island of the United States. That Houston is the #1 destination for inward migration to the United States. So how does Texas rectify being really maybe the immigrant capital of the United States while voting conservative, voting Donald Trump?
That's hard. I mean, because you don't want to sit there and discriminate. I mean, I don't know if discriminate the right word, but you call that whenever that stop and frisk law,
The what?
that stop and frisk law that they were talking about.
Yeah,
What was
I
that
know.
word?
I don't remember.
Profile.
There you go.
Profile. There you go. Profile someone based on what they look. I mean, I think one of the problems is because Houston is the largest port in the nation right now,
It's large, one of the larger
One
ones
of the
for
larger
sure.
ones?
Yeah.
and I think that has to do with. I thought it was more along the Mexico border that was the port in a way.
Well, and I think that, I mean, as with a lot of areas, that your larger metropolitan areas are typically more democratic, and it's more the country areas that are more Republican. And with Texas being as large as it is, and not having as many metropolitan areas, that a lot of the population comes from country, but a lot of the immigrants are going to the metropolitan areas. So, because I mean, if Houston was truly a Republican area, they wouldn't have voted a female lesbian for mayor. And Houston is where we've talked about this. It's a melting pot. I mean, there's all different nationalities here, and so I mean, the area itself, a lot of people are Democratic. So I think that it's kind of balancing the metropolitan with the country areas.
I've read that they think that Texas is going to be a blue state in like 20 years.
I can see that.
Yeah. So here's something we were talking about before, and I was wondering, why is it that Houston is the fourth largest metro area in the United States? Right next door is Dallas, which is the fifth largest metro area in the United States. But yet you don't hear about Dallas or Houston. They don't capture the public imagination. And you said something interesting about why you thought that was.
I think it's more because those two areas are more conservative, whereas all the other like New York, L.A., Boston, they're more of a liberal town, so they like to have more of the spotlight. Whereas more conservative people, they just kind of like go along with their lives.
Mm-hmm. But like the liberal media wants to play up, Seattle, San Francisco, but then they kind of ignore Houston and Dallas, despite. So like we're in, as you described it, like a cul-de-sac of a cul-de-sac. And how many miles do you drive to work every day, and how long does it take you to drive those miles?
I don't know the number of miles. I just talk in minutes. So to work in the morning, it takes me about between 30 and 40 minutes to get to work in the morning. Mm-hmm. And then in the afternoon, usually it takes me, if I were coming straight home, it probably take me 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. But stopping to pick up the kids, it's usually hour and a half, maybe 2 hours.
And how fast was your how fast are you driving along that stretch, would you say?
Are you showing this too?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is this going to be reported to anybody?
No, I mean the
speed limit.
The joke is that in Seattle or wherever, when you're driving to work, you're averaging 20 miles an hour, and so you go 6 miles and it takes you 30 minutes.
Oh yeah, no.
So the point I'm trying to make is that I'm pretty sure your work is like 40 miles away from here.
Oh yeah, no, I'm
but
usually,
it takes you like 40 minutes to go 40 miles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm usually somewhere between probably 70 and 80 miles an hour.
70 and 80 miles an hour?
You're not showing us anybody. But I'm on the freeways.
Well, you're on the toll roads, and that's the speed limit.
Yeah, and so the speed limit
75 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
The speed limit on the toll roads, I think, is 65.
65.
So, and that's, it's commuter time. I leave the house at 6 o'clock in the morning, so there's only people out commuting, moving, going somewhere.
I think on the west side of Austin, I think it's like the speed limit 75 or 80 on the actual sign.
So something I was talking about with these guys was like there's this kind of conception, like a lot of the United States, like the American dream is dead. But like the idea of a two-car garage and a house with a bit of land, like being able to afford it is like it's no longer with us anymore. But like it's alive and well in Texas, I think. And one of the reasons why is because they literally build like so many roads out here, and they're building a ring road around Houston that is going to be like the size of the country of Jamaica. It's going to be like 160 miles around, and it's quite interesting. Even though Houston's one of the largest cities in the United States, like most people here can like claim their piece of land.
Yeah.
What do you guys think the future of Texas is?
That's a good question. I mean, I think it just really depends on how the government takes the country.
And there's always some talk about,
Right. Succeeding.
yeah, seating.
But
I don't think
Would
it's
you
gonna happen
you wouldn't
either.
support secession?
I don't think it would benefit anybody.
It would be interesting though.
It
would be
how
interesting,
Yeah,
things-
that's
maybe
for sure.
California. I mean,
Yeah.
Get rid of California. So Texas is the only state in the United States where the Texas flag is able to fly at the same height as the American flag, and I believe at the same size as well. And so when you're driving out here and you're at the mega church or the car dealership or wherever, and they have their row of flags, they'll have the giant Texas flag waving right next to the American flag. The only state I've never seen more flags anywhere in the world than in Texas. It's pretty incredible.
Well, and it's interesting because you'll see, a lot of the houses have it too. So it's not just, and you wouldn't go, I haven't been to it, I haven't traveled as much as you have, but any other state that I've been to, you don't see the state flag hanging from somebody's house.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
a lot of the state flags are ugly. They have like
This is
words on them.
Yeah.
This is true.
Like established 1857.
Yeah, this is
Mhm.
true. And you'll also see, I don't think we have any in the house, but we do have some around. There's some outside with the star, like the Texas star from the flag as well.
Oh.
So
So,
it's
Oh,
used
yeah,
in like
decal.
decorating. Yeah.
so when are you guys gonna get your Texas flagpole put in the front yard?
We hadn't really thought about doing it. We're good.
Yeah.
We're good.
But you did consider moving out of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
When was this and what happened?
It was before we moved into this house.
Yeah.
That's been within the last 5 years or so.
My big concern was job. I mean, we're both in the medical field, largest medical center in the nation. I mean, there's a hospital just about on every other corner in Houston. And so my concern was job security.
I see. But and you just couldn't pry yourself away from.
That is moving outside of Texas would be very hard for me.
All right. Well, I think that covers it. Do you guys have anything you want to tell the people about Houston to close? About Texas?
I thought of something, but I can't say it like you would.
What?
Y'all are welcome anytime.
Yeah, all y'all are welcome to
There
come
you
and
go.
visit
See?
the great state of Texas.
There you go.
All right. There you go. Until next time.